Hello everybody and welcome to round 5 of the Tail Racing Ring Runners in Season 9. It is time for the Renault Clio Cup round. I think for the first time in a few seasons. We're on the combined short layout, the first of 2 times we'll be using this layout. That means no arena, but also no bottom end of the Grand Prix circuit either. So it should be a relatively short lap, but these are not very quick cars. So it will be matched up quite nicely to what we've had previously in this season. It is myself, Ewan, and James Parfitt with you again for this round of the championship. And it was raining, James, but it's not anymore. And it seems that it's dried out just in time for the race.
Yeah, it does look like it's dry. And it does look like these guys aren't going to have the challenge of dealing with rain, which would have been quite exciting for us, especially at Nords. But it has been dry. We do have scores for you this week.
Yeah, we do. From the first 4 rounds of the championship, after Ray Tew's victory last time out in the supercars, he's still quite a long way back. He's only just sneaked into the top 10. In fact, in the standings, it's Curry Stas who is at the front, ahead of Rick Putnam, with Evan Crowd just behind, and Pat Labrosse alongside as well. Dan Cosick and Dave Muller are not very far apart either. Rick Putnam is in 6th. Then you've got David Anders, 17, Dilt Safe, had Jason Hightower, and then at the bottom of those are all the drivers who've only been at 1 round so far this season. In the AM standings, we've got Scott Sadler, who is at the head of things by about 12 points ahead of Pat Mace. Then Stephen Johnson, who's just ahead of James Petterjohn. John Amico is a little bit further back after missing rounds this season. Tim Watchow just behind him with Dylan Hesslink in 7th place. Houston Elliott in 8th. And then again, those who have only been at 1 round or less in this season so far. With that, the drivers are just making their way towards the end of qualifying. Actually, we're not quite at the end just yet, but as you can see, dry conditions, and obviously you won't have seen this on the stream, but earlier on where we were looking at practice, the weather conditions were very bad. It was very, very wet indeed and very foggy as well, but some of that fog has lifted and it certainly dried out as well. So Curry Stas has taken the pole position ahead of Dan Cosick with Evan Crowd and Pat Labrosse on row 2. Patrick Oakstrand as well, making one of his few appearances this season, his first of the season, in 5th place. Then Stephen Johnson, who's in 6th. First of the AMs, though, he's ahead of Dave Mull. Then Scott Sadler, who's the championship leader in the AMs, ahead of Ian Bertolucci and David Anders rounding out the top 10. Pat Mace didn't set a time, neither did David Baker. Norton, Watchow, Houston Elliott, Chase Petterjohn or John Amico, who round out the field down towards the back. So that is the grid. Curry Stas on the pole position. Again, he's close in with Rick Putnam at the top of the championship, and he's going to gain some points today because Putnam's not here, so he's going to be taking one of his drop rounds.
Yeah, he will be. So that gives Stas a good opportunity. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to finish it off, well, we're going to find out, aren't we? I think that's the situation here for Curry Stas. He's got to take opportunities, and this is a big opportunity he's been given at the moment.
Certainly is. Same goes as well for the likes of Evan Crowd, who needs to just gain some points to get in amongst those 2 at the top. Pat Labrosse as well, who at the start of the day is near to Dave Mull, who is down in 7th place to start with in qualifying. But these drivers just getting themselves onto the grid now, ready for the short formation lap and the run towards the line and the start of this race. It's in the Renault Clio Cups this time around, and yeah, an interesting car. I think a car that suits this circuit quite well.
Yeah, right. I love this little car. It's like a little skateboard on wheels, and let's not expect high top speeds. Okay, let's be aware of this situation, but I do like it. It is a nice little car to drive in, and it's fun. I think that's the biggest thing. It's fun to drive.
Yeah, it's front wheel drive, sort of chucking it around really in this well, around any circuit to be honest, but round here as well, and we'll see how they get on with it here today, because I'd say I think this car suits the Nordschleifer quite well. Much like the supercars last week, it can be thrown over the curbs a little bit more than some of the others we've had this season. like the HPD, for example, which certainly could not be thrown over the curves. Next week, by the way, we've got the GT4 class as well. So a couple of cars in these 2 weeks that have brought us back to reality a little bit after the supercars, the Legends 4, the HPD, the open wheelers the week before that. You know, we've had some proper weird cars to start this season, but these next 2 weeks are a little bit more normal.
Yeah, and then after that we go to the spec racer. You know what I mean?
They're back to not normal.
Yes, back to abnormal machines after this one. But I'm looking forward to this. I think this could be a great race here, as long as these guys keep it on the racetrack and don't end up stacking it. And Corey Stas has been given a great opportunity. Can he take the most of it? That's going to be the problem.
He's going to have to, if he wants to be up towards the front of this championship by the end of the season. He's only been on the podium once so far this season. Came back at the open wheel round, the opening round of the season, although he has been in the top 10 every time. In fact, the top 6 or 7 every race. So he has been consistent, just needs to grab a few more podiums if he wants to challenge Rick Putnam seriously in Season 9, just as he did in Season 8 last time round, just before Christmas. Out of the final corners they come. And Corey Stas will soon be in control of the field. Dan Cossack's getting way ahead of himself, and he's way ahead here. Corey Stas might try and use that to make a bit of a jump on him. He certainly... Oh, no, he's not going to. He's going to play fair. He could have really taken advantage there of Cossack slowing down to let him back through again. And now he's making everybody wait before the front straight. Oh, they don't quite know where to go. And now they're going to be funneling down the middle as the green flag does wave. Corey Stas gets us underway, and he does outfox everybody else. Look at that. Pat Labrosse weaving round all over the place, trying to get into second place at the expense of Evan Cratwell there. He's on the top blue on the inside line on the way towards turn 1 as Stas leads the field in. He's going to take the lead here ahead of Evan Cratwell, then Pat Labrosse, who's in third, ahead of Dan Cossack as well, and further back in the background all sorts of pumping and barging going on, but it looks like we're off to a clean start with the 13 who have actually begun this race.
Yeah, Corey Stas, part 1 done. He's now just got to stay ahead. I think that's the thing. He's now just got to stay ahead of and make the most of it over Krautfeld with Labrosse and Cossack. Great starts from some. No dramas at the back end. John Amico, David Baker and Ian Bertolucci have not started. Tim Watchow is in the mix with Houston Elliott and Chase Petterjohn further back. It does look like Stephen Johnson is having some internet issues and unfortunately keeps dropping in and out there. But Pat Misch at the moment sitting in 9th place overall, so he's got to get ahead, and Scott Sadler is leading the fight currently.
He is just got in front there of Stephen Johnson, who held the lead initially, but now Scott Sadler's taken that on the way towards the north side for us. Pat Misch has got to slow down. He's in third in the AMS, but he's not going to be for much longer by the looks of things. As Scott Sadler went a little bit wide, he's actually been able to serve that and only lose an overall place to Dave Hernandez. So he got away with that as Pat Misch, as he seemed to slow down on the exit of the chicane. This is the top 5 though, and this is the kind of racing you're going to get in the Clio Cup. Lots of slipstream, a bit MX-5-like, I would describe it, just a front-wheel drive car instead of a rear-wheel drive. And it's a look at the way it behaves as well. It is like a skateboard a little bit, but you know, all skateboards are on wheels, so I'm not going to take your description.
Where are you going with that? I said
no.
a roller skate, and you say a skateboard.
I thought you said skateboard. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's a bizarre car, but it behaves weirdly as well, as you've just seen on board with Pat Labrosse. But it does keep together quite well in terms of racing, and the slipstream that Evan Cratwell's going to get here is going to be quite substantial. They're going to be pretty much flat out here through Flugplatz. You're just not going fast enough to really go off the road through there, and so you're just going to gain some more time if you're Cratwell in this position. Here he comes on the way towards Schwedenkreuz, the big left-hander before Arenberg. This is going to be a great chance for him to get through into the lead of this race if he wants to, of course. Oh, he's going to go to the inside line. I thought he was going to back out of that one, but he is going to go to the inside. He's not going to quite have the room on the inside line to get through though, and Corey Stas holds on to the lead ahead of Cratwell, then Pat Labrosse. Oh, he's gone though. He locks up into Arenberg. He smacks the wall. Corey Stas, the pulse hitter, gets it wrong into Arenberg for the first time.
No, he did not need that. He did not need that. That's put Pat Labrosse alongside Dan Cossack. Cossack having a good old scrap. Down the hill they go. Is this going to be a Cossack to be able to go through on the run up into Arden Boris? No, Labrosse manages to hold on. Big mistake from Corey Stas. He just had to hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4 laps. That was it to get some big points over Putnam. Didn't do that, and now he's got Mole pressurising him. Behind that, though, we've got a nice little battle with Hernandez, Mish, Houston Elliott, and Chase Petterjohn, as these guys are in that fight at the same time. But yeah, big mistake for Corey Stas. Not good. He's now got to try and recover.
Stephen Johnson, by the way, has made a mistake because he's down to 12th place all of a sudden in that AM fight we were just looking at there. So Sadler still leads, but by quite even longer of a distance now to Stephen Johnson, who's all the way back in 12th place. John Amico also has started from the pit lane, so he's about a minute off the back of the field, but he at least is in the race, which is good for him. There he is. Got quite a nice livery as well. I thought I saw him on the grid, but something must have gone wrong, and he's driving around at the back. So there you go. Krautmann, meanwhile, has a second. He's broken the slipstream at the front of this field, and can he now drive this advantage home? But we've seen already the leader go off. It's not easy to hold on for 4 laps around this circuit.
No, he just got out on coming down into Araberg. We will have a look a little bit later on. Amico has been off, Sadler's been off, Petterjohn's been off. So I'm not quite sure what's gone on further down there, but there's been a few people off. Stephen Johnson, well, he's doing that, so I'm guessing he's been off at some point. Sadler and Misha side by side. It does look like Sadler's rescinded that position, so I do wonder if he's had something wrong, which he has. He's been off the side of the circuit, so I got a funny feeling if we look inside that steering, he is broken.
Oh, slightly right hand down. As always, we'll have a look at the replays at the end of the day, but that is pretty costly for the championship leader in the AMS. Now Pat Mish, who's only 18 points behind going into today, has got a great chance of gaining some points. So look at this, Houston Elliott right in behind as well, only taking part in his second race of the season and his first since the 18th of December. He's now on the inside of Pat Mish here, and he looks like he's about to take the lead on the way towards Kesselsen. He's got the inside line, the shorter route round the inside line, and here we go. Is he going to get through? Well, no, not quite. He's still absolutely dead level with Pat Mace, who's going to go right round his outside, up the hill, up the other side, and Mace is going to be back through again by the fast left-hander.
Yeah, now he's going to tuck him behind him. Don't forget that they are open setups on this car. Not that you can really do a lot. Let's put it this way: there ain't a huge amount that you can worry about. You haven't got to worry about rear wings or front flaps or anything like that on this car. But I think that does still play a part when it comes to straight line speed. And Houston Elliott can't get Mish this time around. 3 up front have come back together. Dan Kosick, Pat Labrosse, and Evan Krautfield as they come into the carousel. No, Krautfield's popped out.
Oh, just missed it. And he's handed the lead to Pat Labrosse there. Dan Kosick's going to go through as well. And up into second place for the AM champion from season 8. And by the way, a word on Dan Kosick as well here. Now he's gone up to second place, and this is surely his best performance since he was moved up to the pros.
Yeah, it's his highest placement at the moment. He hasn't been up this high since he's moved into the pros. He's been around the mid-pack constantly for Kosick. So, yeah, it's his highest place finish. So, if he does finish here, of course, fair play to him on that one. But we'll see how Kosick gets on. Elliott is still harassing Pat Mee. She's still giving him grief here. And Pat just got that wrong.
Yeah, he did. And this is dangerous into towards the last sector. Don't often see moves there, but it had a go. Back out though, rather sensibly. I think it's probably not a great idea to really be giving Mesh too much trouble. So
he's done it again.
That's wide. He's done it again in towards Brunson. There'll be a chance. No, Elliott's going to stay behind again. He's been very nice to Mesh, letting him back through again.
Yeah, I think he's been a little bit too nice there. There was at least 2 opportunities. He could have had 2 bites at the cherry of Mish on that one, but he didn't. No, don't need that line, Houston. Don't need that line. You could have just followed Mish over the curb. And here we go. He is being a little bit cautious, which is fine because it's Nords and you want to get through and you want to make it, and he's got 3 more laps to go. But I do believe he could have had a couple of bites at him already.
Yeah, he could have had a go, but has just decided not to for the moment. He's staying behind and just waiting for his moment. Maybe his moment is going to come on the back straight here because we're very near to the Dottinghur again. And we will be, as always, watching the slipstream and seeing how it goes. Is this car geared up quite enough for these guys to get themselves through. Down the inside here for Houston. No, he doesn't decide to go for it on this occasion. Pat Labrosse has broken the slipstream pretty much to Dan Kosick, so he's now a second out in front, but will these two get together and try and bring Labrosse back again? Well, he's got a better exit, Labrosse, so it's 1.1 all of a sudden, and Evan Krautard is gaining as Labrosse just weaves around to try and take the slipstream away from Dan Kosick here. There's all sorts of weaving going on from Patrick Elkstrand as well, although it's not really breaking any slipstream. Now finally the gap's starting to close again. Kosick is very much in the tow. He's getting the reverse tow from Krautard. Is he going to get a shove towards the end here, or is he going to be demoted a place? Let's see what the former champion decides to do here, and he's going to go straight to the back of him. And this, I think, is the right call. This is a good call from Evan Krautard. Look at that gap tumble now. Look at the gap coming down. Dan Kosick is being brought closer to Pat Labrosse here, down towards the Tiergarten, but to be fair, they've only gained 2 or 3 tenths.
The problem is if Kosick hasn't got the speed to keep up with Labrosse through the stadium section, by the time they're next running Nords, they're going to be even further back. I've got a funny feeling Krautfeld is quicker, so I would reverse that. I would almost not bring team orders because they're not in the same team, but I would reverse that round the other way and put Krautfeld in the front and leave Kosick to chase, because I think, no offense Dan if you watch his back, but I don't think you've quite got the pace to keep up with I don't think you got the pace to catch up with Labrosse, whereas I think Krautfeld might have. There was a big mistake in the background for Corey Stas. No, it weren't. It was Elkstrand, I think, in that pink machine. Yeah, who made that mistake. Chase Petterjohn in the pits, Tim Watchow in the pits, Scott Sadler in the pits. So again, we will have a look back and see what these guys have been up to, but it doesn't look like it's been too tidy towards the back end. But that's what I would do, because now Kosick's 1.2, they've lost 4 tenths already coming out of Tiergarten to now going into where the stadium is. So yeah, I'm not sure this is the right way round for me. I would put Krautfeld in front.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's already returned, the margin has already returned to what it was before the straight, so it does look like Kosick's not quite as quick. Also, he didn't seem to account for the extra speed he had into Tiergarten there when he was being pushed by Krautfeld. You've got to expect that you're going to be arriving a few k's an hour faster, and he just didn't seem to. Further behind, by the way, it's all going on. Elkstrand locked up into turn 1. Stas eventually got through, but he did make hard work of it, and now he's making even harder work of it. He's gone wide on the way towards the north side for an Elkstrand is going to go straight through there, and here comes Mull as well, Dave Mull. So Corey Stas is making very hard work of this race, and he's back down to 5th again.
And he didn't need to. He didn't need to, Stas. He could have just stayed there, and he could have just braked early going into Arenberg, and he wouldn't have had the issues that he's got now. But unfortunately, he didn't, and he has got issues. The problem is he now pushing to the point beyond the limit where he's turning around and thinking, I've got to go, and he's not really going because he's overdriving the situation of what's happening. Back up front, we've got the Krautfeld Kosick. They've just come onto the rundown into Arenberg, and at the moment, it's as they were, and as I said, I don't think this is the right way round for me.
No, but he hasn't had a chance to rectify it really since they got to the end of the long back straight. Now this is the first chance to do it. He did have a chance to pass Corey Stas when he was in the lead, don't forget, Krautfeld, when we were in this situation 1 lap ago, so maybe he's going to channel that and try again here. He's only a 10.5 behind. Kosick there pulls to the right hand side as if to say the inside if he wants it, but he doesn't. Krautfeld again gets towards the back end of him, but he doesn't push him quite this time. He's going to be right on the back of him in towards Arenberg, and Kosick goes a little bit wide. He's going to bring it back for the apex though, so he's done well there, and he's going to continue to try and chase Labrosse. There's not much in it between these two. We're talking about Kosick like he's terrible. He's certainly not.
No, we're not. We're not saying that. Well, I just think Krautfeld at certain parts of the circuit is faster, and I think that for Kosick's sake, it would maximise the swap over, and that's not anything bad on Dan at all. We're not saying that. We're just at certain parts he looks quicker, Krautfeld does, than Kosick. And I think for these guys to move forward, that's how I would swap it. You are right, we do sound like we're bashing Dan, but we're not. We're just saying that I think the swap would probably be better in moving forward to Labrosse.
I think it's probably the better way around to have it, but yeah, Kosick is keeping pace nearly with Labrosse. There really isn't very much in it, and you've got to remember they are extending their margin over those behind as well. Stas has seemingly made another mistake, and he's nearly a second off Elkstrand. Here goes Kratwad. He clearly believes he's quicker as well. And now the gap might start to balloon. If they do argue about this and they go side by side, then the gap really will increase by a lot.
Yeah, but 1.5 already. You know, they've lost nearly half a second, and there was only one little attempt from Krautfeld there. This needs to go the other way very, very quickly. Otherwise, I could just see Labrosse running away with this, and I've got a funny feeling that it will not end well for the two behind if they carry on fighting.
Got to figure this one out between them. Got to figure out an order and stick with it here. If that is Kosick in front, then Krautwad has got to stay behind and just trust in him that he's going to do the chasing. If they believe they need to swap around, then they need to do it quickly. Further behind, they've got back together for 4th place, but no battling just yet. They're back together again for the lead in the class as well. Pat Mish under pressure from Houston Elliott, although they've not been side by side since about this time last lap, when Mish just about held off Houston Elliott on that occasion. Now, Krautwad's close again on the way through Keselsen, 1.6 seconds. Does he push him, or does he go for the move? He's got a big decision to make here. He can't really do anything through here. He can only go around the outside, which should be no good really for anybody. Now then, now he's got to do it after this left-hander. Now he's got to go. Is he going to go, or is he going to get to the back of him? He's going to get to the back of him here. So, or is he? He's leaning around a little bit. So, is he going to try it, or is he just going to do the pushing here? It looks like he's just going to stay behind Kosick. So he's just got to trust Kosick now and let him do the chasing, because he's clearly decided that staying behind is the better option, unless he goes for it on the brakes down here at the start striker. And Kosick knows it. He's defending a little bit, but no. And now he goes wide. Well, there's a gift. There's a gift for Evan Krautwad. I don't think he was ever going to try and make the pass on his own, but he couldn't refuse that opportunity.
No. The door was left wide open for him. He'd made a mistake, and that was the end of that one. Krautfeld, you can see, goes through there. Here comes Elkstrand, Strass and Mole. They're staying as they are at the same time. And then, of course, we've got Houston Elliott. Houston's been playing nice with Pat Mish, and I do wonder whether or not it might have been a little bit too nice.
Oh, well, Mish has been quite nice there by
giving him again,
almost gifting a chance to Houston Elliott. Side by side, and again, just staying behind. It is quite puzzling how he's being so nice to Pat Mish at the moment.
Yeah. Unless they've made some gentleman agreement, I don't know. But at the moment, Elliott is... It's almost driving, it's like driving with a mate.
Yeah. Well, maybe they are.
Maybe they are, but I think when you're on the racetrack, it all goes out the window.
Well... they have got a very big gap over the rest of them behind. They do have the space to battle. You would expect this kind of thing if there was someone in third, not so far behind them, and they didn't want to let anyone else get involved. But Stephen Johnson's never going to catch that margin, even with all the battling in the world between these two. So they're very much free to race here, these two, but they're just not at the moment. Again, Houston Elliott looks a lot quicker through this final sector. We saw this on the opening lap, but he's not really got any chances to overtake through this bit.
It's almost like he pulls out early. He pulls out the way early and to try and avoid Pat. And I don't think he needs to. I think he's got the pace to stay with him. And really, you'd want him to see and have. Oh, there you go. Come on, you've got to go now. You've got to go now, surely. Oh, Pat, you filthy banana. Off the side of the circuit for Pat there and managed to hold on to that position. And, yeah, this is puzzling.
Yeah, I think Elliott there didn't want to get crashed into by Mish as he came back on the circuit again, which you can understand. But that effectively meant he didn't take the place either. This is now the only battle on the circuit, by the way, as the others have really spread apart. See whether this really is a battle down in towards the Tiergarten, because so far Houston Elliott hasn't tried to make a move. We didn't see what happened between these two on the opening lap though, so we will have a look this time round to see if Elliott is still trying to stay behind or trying to make a pass.
I can tell you now, he didn't make an effort to go through. However, Tim Watchow and Stephen Johnson swapped places about 20 times over that first lap, so that would have been quite an interesting situation to go on. In fact, Nope, they've swapped places more than that. About 25 times over lap number 1. So I'm not quite sure where they were running side by side, but they were doing it at one point.
I've been on the straight where one was just getting their nose ahead of the other and then swapping around quite a lot on the straight, I would imagine, as Elliott tries to get in the slipstream. Even 4 tenths back, slipstream's not that powerful in this car, not quite like the Mazdas, as I was talking about earlier on. There is still a good benefit to being in the slipstream, but it's not huge. And I don't think Elliott's going to quite have the chance here. In fact, he pulls wide out the slipstream before the bridge, so he's clearly not that eager to go through.
Seems really weird. Don't get me wrong, they're a long way away from Dave and Anders, and I understand that. And they're a long way ahead of Johnson, which I get. But maybe he's going the last lap, maybe he's setting him up there. I can't really answer that question, I'm afraid.
It's unusual, this battle. Very unusual, as they pass the first half of this race. The field is very much spread apart. I wonder whether these drivers don't quite have the very much experience in this car. And there, maybe as an example, Dave Mull has gone for a spin out of the second corner. I'd be interested to know how he managed that, because this is a front-wheel drive car, of course.
Well, again, we'll look back at the replay run through.
Yeah, we will later. But he must have had help. You're not going to spin up the rear tyres in this car.
You shouldn't do.
No. Well, that would be illegal, I think, in Clio Cup racing, to be able to spin it up in the rear with the rear tyres. When they do donuts at the end, they put it in reverse and just go around in circles.
The easiest way.
It is the easiest way. You're never going to get the rear end round. So yeah, there you go. We'll see if anybody does that at the end. Stick continuing to hold on ahead of Elliott. He's got Mull now just up ahead of him, but it does look like Dave Mull is faster than these two. He just needs to go and pull away again.
Yeah, he needs to just regather his faults after his incident, and then he'll start opening the gap back up, I think. So I don't expect Dave Mull to really get dragged into this. Then at the same time, Elliott was just really slow going into the Nords there, but then it's just closed up going on the run down the hill. So he's clearly got pace. I'm surprised he hasn't made this a lot more easier for himself and gone past Pat and then run away from Pat. Maybe he just, I don't know, maybe he wants to have a battle. Who knows?
Maybe he does. As Elliott there just goes a little bit wide. Mace will hang on to the lead in this class. We'll touch on the championships a little bit here at this race as well, because it is interesting at the moment in the AM class with Scott Sadler having that incident, and it was an incident, I believe, earlier on in the race. He's now back to 4th place, but Pat Mace is quite close behind him in that class, and at the moment would, I think, half his margin to Sadler, if not more, if things stay as they are, with Mace leading the way. So this is a pretty big day and an important one to hang on to for Pat Mace. Houston Elliott, of course, not involved because this is his second round of the season.
But you still want to come in with a bit of a bang, right? You know what I mean? You still want to lay the marker down. Pat's laying it down to Dave Mull at the moment. I'm just fearful now that, as Elliott's not made that move on Pat when he clearly could have done, that him and Dave Mull are going to escape away and leave the man in purple there a little bit stranded. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen and Elliott's got the pace to keep up with these two, because clearly Dave is the quicker of the three, but Pat's managing to stay with him, which is credit to Pat, of course. But at the same time, I just don't want Elliott being dropped when he had so many opportunities to make a pass through on him.
Well, this is going to be a problem now for Mace, because Mull hasn't been able to regather himself after that spin as well as he might have hoped, and now Mace has got a decision to make here. Does he risk making an overtake here on the man 7th place overall currently, or does he just stick behind him and hope that he goes for it? Mull's defending almost as well. Mace is going to be unhappy about this. His decision has been made for him there. I think Mace has just got to stick behind and hope Dave Mull increases his speed, because right now Mace is losing time in his class battle because of Mull ahead, not in his class.
But this is where he's at a sticking point, isn't he? He's either got to try and find the pace and go past Mull and hopefully drop Elliott, or he's just got to, I don't really know, otherwise he's going to get dragged. There's nothing really Pat can do about this. Either go and make the overtake on Mole if you feel you're quicker, or sit there and defend from Elliott. You weren't close to Mole going, it's only the fact that Mole spun, that's the only reason he's there. So you weren't close to him. So Pat really, in an ideal world, would just sit back and go, okay, well, I've got more worry about Elliott behind me than I have Mole in front.
Into Exmuller they go, and Houston Elliott closes right up to the back of Pat Mace here through the right-hander, and he's got a good chance. He's pulled alongside. It's a good exit from Exmuller here for Houston Elliott. We've seen this in the past though. We've seen him pull alongside and just back out, and just start to wonder at this point, when is he going to make this move? Is he going to ever make this move?
Last lap. If he sat here, but he sat here for so long. Why is it not going to be the last lap? He is risky, you're right. We've seen it before with other drivers in other series. Last laps at Road Atlanta, last laps at Spa, all of the Road America, all of them circuits. But none of them have got a 1,700 meter left straight or whatever it was that we looked into. And he's got the opportunity, but Mole's doing him a favour now, and he just needs to make use of this. He could have had Pat 2 laps ago, a lap ago, and he didn't take the opportunity. So now he's got to, well, I guess wait, I suppose.
He's continuing to sit behind here, Pat Mace. Oh, that goes a bit wide. Again, we'll close in. Again, we'll have a look at the inside, but not go for it. I mean, I get your point about it has to be the last lap. Why would it not be? But I'm starting to fear that it might be never that he tries here, because so far he's had so many chances and he's not taken any of them. Pat Mace, by the way, popped out the carousel last lap. We'll see how he gets on with it this time round. He goes a bit slow. Look how much slower he's going. He just wanted to make sure he stayed in the banking there, and now he's really invited the pressure from Houston Elliott. Again, he's not going to go through, but he just wanted to make absolutely sure there he stayed within the carousel.
Yeah, but that was understandable. See, was it lap 1? I think was it when he popped out, or no? Did Mesh popped out? Possibly. But yeah, he's just made dead cert there. But again, we're looking at the same scenario. It's like deja vu, and deja vu. Mish is slow, Elliott doesn't go through. Mish makes a mistake, Elliott doesn't go through. We don't know when he's going to make the mistake. If he makes the move, if at all he gets the move done, we really don't know at the moment in time here. But Mole's slowly opening up now, nearly out at a second.
Yeah, he is continuing to put in a good margin now. Oh, no, it's gone off. He's just gone into the grass and gone wide. Is that the race here in the AMS? Has the race been decided there by that moment? It looks like Houston Elliott has got some real work to do now. He's lucky he's got another lap to go, because if this was on the final lap, then that would have been it.
But look how quicker he is. He's pulled back 2 tenths already. He was out at 8.5. He managed to get it down to 6.5. It's now 7. He's pulled another tenth. It's coming down again. He's clearly got the pace. 6. I think by the time they probably get into the dot and the hoe, he'll probably be in contact again.
Possibly, yeah. We will see on that front as they make their way now through the Stefan Beloff S and towards the end of another lap here. Right-handed, oh, bit wide, but he gets away with it. And he's not going to pass on this lap, but I think that there showed exactly why I think his strategy of waiting so long like this is a bit flawed, because his strategy relies on there being absolutely no mistakes from him and no increase of pace on Pat Mace either. And, you know, either of those things could very easily happen. And I don't really think the strategy of staying behind right to the very end is a good one, especially when you consider the slipstream's not that powerful and there's no real clear-cut chances in this car.
And at the moment, both of them are getting it. Mish is getting it off Mole, Elliott's getting it off Mish as they come through the fog there. But I don't know if Elliott doesn't get this. I do wonder whether or not he'll sit back looking at this race and regret what he did here. Because he could have had him 2 laps ago, at least. See what happens, mate.
Yeah.
See what happens. This is just gonna, like a cake, isn't it? You know, if you're gonna open up the oven and find a nice raised base, or you're gonna open up the oven and find a squishy mess. So, see what happens.
I wonder where you were going with that, but yeah, it's just a good analogy. Let's see, into the final chicane as the white flag's now waving, and we are on to the final lap. Does Pat Mace want to pass Mull and put a bit of distance between himself and his nearest rival? That's another risk, by the way, that Houston Elliott is constantly playing with as he's employing this strategy. He's hoping that Mace doesn't overtake Dave Mull, and that's very possible right now as well, especially down towards turn 1. Mace is not looking to go through on the inside, but Dave Mull is defending. I think Mace really wants Mull to stay on the racing line and just get on with this, but at the moment he's not. And that was quite deep on the break from Houston Elliott. Again, look at the gap extend. He's made a real mess of that first chicane.
Absolutely.
And look at the gap now.
Yeah, hashed it. I think that's it. I think that's it.
Might be a bit early to call it, but yeah, it's not looking good.
You can pull out 2 or 3 temps, but he's got to try and make up 2 seconds. I don't think he's got that in his locker. So, especially with me still staying remotely in contact with Mole. Yeah, 2.2, 2.3. Going backwards on that one, unfortunately for Houston Elliott. Probably a squishy cake rather than a nice, beautiful base by the end of it.
Most parts to learn. I don't like cake. Anyway,
I don't like marzipan. I like cake, but I don't like marzipan. Marzipan is, no, makes me cringe.
Cringe?
Yeah, it is really horrible. I don't know, okay. I can't touch it, I can't feel it, I don't even want to smell it, it's disgusting.
Oh, right, that's quite a... That's quite strong dislike.
Dude, yeah, is there nothing like that? Like, literally, it's almost like a phobia of marzipan. It's so weird.
Phobia?
Yeah, I just can't go near it.
I don't think I have any food that I passionately hate quite that much. No.
Like, talking about it now just makes me want to...
Okay, well, we'll change the subject in that case. Corey Stas is closing in here on Patrick Elstrad, and that's all of a sudden happened very quickly as he looks for 4th place. Corey Stas, by the way, still hasn't finished on the podium this season since the FF1600s. In fact, he's only been in the top 5 on a couple of occasions since then, and outside on the Legends. Now he's looking to get into 4th place and finish there for the first time this season, if possible. Down the inside, or that outside I should say, through Schwenkreuz, and then to the corner where it all started to unravel for him into Arenberg, where he locked up and went wide and hit the wall on the opening lap. He'll be ruining that mistake by the end of today, but anyway, he's got to put that to the back of his head for the moment and try and pass this Patrick Ostran here for 4th place.
Yeah, he spent the last 4 laps literally recovering from his mistake on lap 1. That's literally been the story of Corey Stas at the moment. And he... Oh, come through there looking up, buddy, at the same time, did Corey. Careful there, bud. But and to be fair, he had a great opportunity and he didn't make the most of it. So yeah, he's just gonna have to try and pick up where he can. Kosik's looking quick, mind you. He's done well finishing in 3rd. I think this will be his highest finish, if I'm not mistaken, of the season. Misha Mole still close together. Elliott 5.8 seconds back.
Where's all his speed gone?
I don't know.
This is weird. And he's gone wide again at Adnan Forse. He's lost 6 seconds on 1 lap. This is extraordinary, really. Considering he did look like the quicker driver when he was right behind Mitch, and he looked like he was almost holding himself back. He's lost so much time on 1 lap. This is really bizarre.
Yeah. Crazy. He's going to rue this. He will literally sit back and think, I chopped up for myself, should we say.
Oh, Outstrand, look at that. Driving down the grass. Luckily for these cars, they're quite high off the ground, and so it doesn't really matter. Driving down the grass is almost as quick as it would be on the tarmac. Corey Stas closes in, though. And again, Outstrand, you can tell he's pushing, and he might just have used up a bit too much of his front tyres. You're always using these front tyres, of course, turning and using the power, and they can go away from you towards the end. Maybe that's what's happened to Houston Elliott here. It certainly looks like that's what's happening to Elgstrand at the moment, because he's understeering all over the place here. He's finally stayed on the road through Exmuller, but he's been in the grass a couple of times in the last few corners.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit untidy. He's looking like he's almost got pressure on him. Although he's still got half a second to be able to control this, but he'd make it through Burbo, fine. But I think for Elstrad, it's really weird in a car, you know, because you do become under pressure and you start doing stupid stuff, and I think sometimes that's what we've been looking at with certain drivers. They've been making silly mistakes. Stas making a mistake, Mish making a mistake. Elliot's clearly made a mistake because he's 7.5 seconds back going on at the moment, and I think them drivers would probably look at this and think they've had a missed opportunity.
Yep, there will be a few of those drivers for sure. They make their way up towards the Moot Curve now. It is Patrick Elstrand still holding on to 4th place. He's making his first appearance this season, by the way, is Patrick Elstrand. Hasn't been with us since last season, where he only did the 1 round as well. That was in the TCRs. There is no TCRs this season. I guess this is the closest, and we'll see him again after this.
Yeah. No more TCRs.
Nope.
Done. Dusted. I need replacing anyway. Don't get me started.
Well, I felt like I already have. Maybe it's the front-wheel drive that he enjoys the most about these cars. But anyway, there's no more front-wheel drive this season. As I mentioned, we're sort of back to normality in these 2 weeks. We're at the GT4s next time out, but then it goes a bit wrong again. The Spec Racer Ford is the first race in February, followed by the hypercars, which is going to be quite a sight. And then the BMW M2. And which is basically a GT4, and then the GT3. So back to normality for the end before Duck Week. So yeah, we've got some interesting rounds to come, but we are keeping it sensible next week as well with the GT4s.
Yeah. Come on, we've had a very up and down start, haven't we? To the start of this season. I'm looking forward to the spec races. I really am. That's escapable. The spec racer is escapable. That's what you'll see on this racetrack. How are they going to keep that back end? Wonder how many's going to finish that week.
Yes, indeed. I've never driven it, by the way, and I've never seen them being driven either. So,
have you not? Oh, dude, they're so much fun.
That'll be a first for me. Yep.
So much fun to drive. But I can tell you one thing: the rear end does not like you.
No. Well, okay. We'll look forward to that in the final, in a couple of weeks, I should say. As Hernandez and Mull, meanwhile, get together. Mull has finally recovered from his error out of turn 2, and suddenly he's chanting at Hernandez. He might well have caught up at the right time as well to pass him right before the line.
Yeah, definitely. I am still amazed that over 1 lap, Houston Elliott lost nearly 7 seconds. 9 seconds.
9, 10, nearly.
Nearly 10 seconds.
He must have cooked his front tyres.
He must have done something. That's an insane time loss over 1 lap. But okay, see what happens if Mole can get Hernandez here, and can Stas get Elstrad. They're running on to the dot, and I hope for the final time.
I'm not sure Stas is quite close enough here. He needs a very good run if he's going to get there. He has got a better exit, but I'm not sure it's going to be good enough. Just over 6/10 of a second is the margin. Elstrad can see Dan Kosick, who's about to pick up his first podium of the season in the pro class. Now Elstrad is weaving around. That's not going to help him particularly. Breaking the slipstream. He's just slowing himself down. Now Stas is really starting to close in. He's just under half a second behind. But I think he is just about going to run out straight. Hernandez and Muller already side by side. What's gone on here? Pat Macy is right behind them as well. He could be about to make it 3 wide as they look for the headlights through the fog. It's all sorts of side drafting going on as well. Look at this. Macy's looking for the right, looking for the left as well. He's going to go on the left-hand side. He's just squeezing himself down a very small margin. And look at this. Pat Mace might be about to get 6th place right at the very end. Meanwhile, Pat Labrosse is about to come across the line and take victory here in the Clio Cup round of the Tail Racing Ring Runners. A great performance from him. But what's going on for 6th here? Pat Mace looks like he's got it. He's side by side with Hernandez still. Into the Tiergarten. They're going to go for this. Into the final few corners. Hernandez not backing out just yet. He'll go for the inside line at the final corners, but Mace has got it. This is a great points game for Pat Mace on the day. He's gone a bit wide. Is he going to hang on? Here comes Mull. He's going to get him back again. Mull gets 2 positions on the last lap to finish 6th. Of Mace, who gets a position as well. Hernandez loses 2, and he finishes 8th.
Yeah, I'll show you. We'll have a look back at that because Mish got that wrong going into that last corner, and unfortunately made a mistake, and that's what cost him there. Oh, hello, Dave. Oh,
dear.
Watchell's been in some drama. Oh, he has. He left pit lane and then crashed.
Oh dear. We'll see that later on. By the way, without looking, do you want to guess how many, what the gap was between Houston Elliott and Pat Mace on that lap without looking?
He was 10 seconds out at one point. Misha's got the draft. 13.
The gap was 9.2. Lost. 9.2.
One lap.
That's an extraordinary amount of time to lose. Absolutely extraordinary amount of time. I was toying with the fact that I think two things have happened actually in that gap. One is that Pat Mace got very quick on that last lap. Very, very quick. He was faster than... who was he faster than on that lap? Sorry, not quite faster than Elgstra and Evan Crow, but he wasn't far off them. So he got the third fastest lap on that lap, despite finishing 7th, Pat Mace. So two things have happened. Pat Mace got very, very quick, and Houston Elliott, I'm afraid, got really quite slow. 9:33 is nearly 7 seconds off his personal best.
That is insane. That's crazy. Especially since he should have got him.
However, even if Houston Elliott had finished, maybe a 10th off his personal best at that time, he wouldn't have kept up with Pat Mace. So, yeah, as I say, two things were going on. Elliott was getting slower as Mace was getting very, very quick.
Yeah. Still a crazy amount of time lost, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It is. But I think he consoled himself with the fact he couldn't really have done anything anyway.
Well, I suppose that's the plus on it. John Amico looks like...
Well...
you could take a positive out of it, but you can't get rid of the negative that he should have had a go at him.
Yeah, and having said that he might not have got there anyway. If it might have been a different story if he'd have had the track position and he would have been defending on that last lap from Mace. Maybe he would have prevented Mace from getting that personal best and prevented him from going through as well. But these things we'll never find out because unfortunately it just started to unravel right from the very first corner of that last lap.
Yeah, it just all went wrong. Houston Elliott ran wide, caused himself drama. That was it. But he'll rue lap 1, 2, and 3 though, because he should have had him. Should have had him.
Yeah, he certainly will. So while John Amico's continuing on with this, by the way, we'll just chat about points briefly because Rick Putnam and Pat Labrosse have both missed a round. Effectively, they will be 1 and 2 if you are taking a drop round. So what I'm going to do is read out points per round because that makes more sense when you actually factor in the fact that people have missed rounds. So Rick Putnam has scored 30.75 points a round. Pat Labrosse, though, has scored 34.5. So he's actually scored more points a round with his third race win of the season here in the Clio Cups. Then next up would be Corey Stas. He's scored 27.8 a round, then 27.6 for Kratwell. Then in 5th place would be 26 points a round for Dan Kosick. So that will be your top 5. Pat Labrosse, though, is really starting to put himself in the conversation for this championship. He just hasn't looked like it so far because he missed the first round.
Yeah. I was quite surprised when I did have a look, and he was right up where he is at the moment, to be blatantly honest, because then I suppose when you've taken 3 wins in a second, you're always going to put yourself up there. But this could be really tight, really, really tight coming into the back end of this season. I think there's going to be 3 or 4, maybe 5 drivers that could have a go at the championship.
I think we've got 4 at the moment. I think we've got 4. That's Kratwell, Labrosse and Putnam as well. But Labrosse with 3 race wins and 1 second place in his 4 appearances so far, that is tough to beat. In the AM class, Scott Sadler is still leading the way, and actually everybody's done the same amount of races of those who are championship contenders. Everybody's done the same amount of races anyway. So Scott Sadler is leading, but his gap's down to 12 points ahead of Pat Mace. He lost 6 today. Then Stephen Johnson and Chase Petterjohn as well. So that's 4 drivers covered by just 26 points. But Sadler and Mace are starting to show themselves to be the top contenders. And of course, Mace 4 positions ahead of Sadler today, and then taking the bonuses as well for race win in the AM. So he's going to be, or he has gained loads of points. This is your race result. Pat LaBrosse finishes ahead of Evan Crowell there by 5 seconds, with Dan Kosick first time on the podium as a pro driver. Patrick Elstrom finishes 4th ahead of Corey Stas and Dave Mull, with Pat Mace involved in that battle alongside Dave Hernandez as well. Second place in the AMS was Houston Elliott. Then it was Stephen Johnson rounding up the top 10. Scott Sadler and Tim Wardchow and John Amico finished on the lead lap. Chase Pettejohn was 1 down. Ian Bertolucci and David Baker didn't take the start in the end. So now it's time for a look at the replays for the first time. Not too many to look at, starting with Corey Stas here at the front.
Yeah, this is Arenberg. Too much. Missed a break-in, and unfortunately that was the situation. Now, I did say John Amico and Scott Sadler, something had happened to them. This is what John had done. Because obviously he started, I believe he started from pit lane, ran stop it.
Oh, no.
Well done. Can he stop it? Fair play to him. Fair play. Then I said Scott Sadler had got himself caught up in something. This is what Scott did early in the lap as well.
That's where he went wide. Eventually, and he was followed by somebody in the background as well. So eventually he would have to tow back to pit lane and repair his damage. Chase Pettejohn also had a fair amount of damage during this race and ended up finishing a lap down.
Yeah, did the same thing. Literally, they both kind of followed each other. And then Stephen Johnson. This is all on lap 1 still, mind you. We saw the... Whoa, there was a big puff of smoke from somebody there. Oh, Johnson got that all wrong. And I think that was Chase Pettejohn further up. Chase had quite a few more simple little things after this that unfortunately he had done. And this is one of them coming out the carousel. Oh, nosedive in the wall there. He does something further on now. Sadler jumped straight back to the pits here, but I can't work out where that... Let's see if I can go back and see if we can get...
Oh, that's a big crash. Looks like a big crash there. Through... Oh, dear, he got the inside curb. Wow. That's a big crash. Through to Albin's fence, that is, just before the small carousel. That was a really big impact for Scott Sadler. He did not enjoy this car combination. So has Chase Pettejohn on the Hatzenback, lap 2. Straight into the wall, and he would be back to pit lane as well.
Yeah, unfortunately straight back to pit lane after that. Das and Mo had gone off practically together. I think this might have been a little bit of tunnel vision. Yep. There they are. They're both doing the same thing. So, yeah.
Exactly the same thing.
Yes. And then Dave Mo, I think this was the incident we were looking at where we said, oh, Mo's round, did he get help? Well, judging by the fact of how many cars are both sides, no, he just got it all wrong on his own. Dave Mo.
Hang on.
Oh, no.
Hang on.
No.
Oh.
There we go. David Anders.
Anders late on.
Giving him a bump.
Giving him a big shove there through the first chicane. So that was that for Dave Mull, spinning to the inside line. Tim Wardchow as well.
Just come out pits,
12th.
mind you.
Oh, no. Uh-oh, too fast.
Oh, and the curb.
Oh, no. He would have got away with that, but it was the curve that did for him there, and that's why we saw him with so much front-end damage towards the end there.
John Amico sends himself back to pit lane. He was already off there.
Oh, ouch.
Bro, that's painful. And then the final one, I think we just caught the back end of Dave. Oh, no, I think this might have been a little bit of just a dash on and off track there for Dave Mull. And he runs there all the way through. So then that's it. That was the end.
Hello.
Where are you going? That's one way of holding on to your position, Dave, isn't it? So
he eventually would finish 6th, wouldn't he? So yeah, he did hang on to a position there by doing that. But anyway,
that was it. That was the end of it. Some people have had fairly eventful races, and others had fairly quiet ones.
Absolutely, yeah, it was fairly quiet, especially through the middle, actually, of that race, but a good first time out for the Clio Cups, maybe ever in this series, certainly for a few seasons. I don't think it's been out for that long, has it, the Clio Cup? So wouldn't be surprised. The first of 2 times we'll be using the combined short layout. We're back here for the BMW M2s in a few weeks' time. But as I say, it's Clio Cup this time around. GT4 coming up next time out on the 29th of January. So we'll look forward to that in these 2 weeks of normal cars, cars that you'd likely see around this circuit.
Yeah. We'll enjoy 2 weeks of bliss, and then we'll go and whack the spec races on it. You know what I mean? So let's get the Clios and the GT4s out of the way, and then why not do the spec racer for?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, we will.
Let's grab
we
the
will do that.
skateboard and chuck it round Nords, which is what they've
Why
done.
not? Yeah. Yeah, that's on the 5th of February, so we'll be back with that recorded, of course, as well after that one. But thanks very much for watching again. This has been the Tower Racing Ring Runners for round 5. As I say, we'll be back with the GT4s some point after the 29th of January when that race takes part. Every Wednesday evening, of course, from 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There is racing in the Tower Racing Ring Runners, so you're more than welcome to join. I've been Ewan Lee alongside Jed Parfitt. Until we see you next time out for those GT4s and round 6 of the Tower Racing Ring Runners, it's goodbye for now.